Hey there everybody, I'm Walter Benasiak, and this is Top 5. With this director's 10th feature film, Dunkirk, still in theaters, I thought it was finally time for this list. Today, we're taking a look at one of my all-time favorite directors, so hold on to your seats, because things are about to get Nolan-y. Christopher Nolan is one of the best directors working today. From the release of Memento in 2000 leading into his Dark Knight trilogy and beyond, Nolan is one of the most prolific voices in film this century. For better or worse, he started trends that are still being followed to a certain degree as he redefined superhero films as we knew them. But Nolan is so much more than just a great Batman director. His films take us on complex journeys that reward the audience upon multiple viewings. His signature presentation and strong handle on story almost never disappoint. Like many others, I discovered his work starting with Batman Begins and have been hooked ever since. His movies connect with me and millions of other people in ways that dazzle, astonish, and stick with you long after you see them. These are the top 5 best Christopher Nolan movies. Number 5. Memento. Memento is a film school favorite and started Nolan's mainstream career in a very unique way. Leonard Shelby suffered a major head injury while trying to fight his wife's murderers. He now has a rare form of memory loss where he is unable to create new memories. Even so, his life consists of hunting down the one surviving man who killed his wife. With the help of his questionable friend Teddy, Leonard uses conditioning, pictures, and tattoos to remind himself of his mission. Supposedly, this is being remade pretty soon. Can't wait for the Memento cinematic universe. Everyone who's seen this movie knows how great and different it is. The story structure is more than just a gimmick. Like a lot of Nolan's later films, Memento lends itself to multiple watchings. I still discover new details every time I see it. Since the narrative is non-linear, it forces the viewer to pay attention to as many aspects as they can process. While the movie plays on, you start to piece things together. Lots of particulars are left open to interpretation, which makes part of the mystery of Memento that much more intriguing.
But I got all sorts of other considerations. Legal responsibility, large finance. Who is this?
The performances are pretty solid here too. I think Joey Pantoliano is the standout as Leonard's friend Teddy. His presence makes every scene he's in more layered.
A car this nice, you should lock it.
Who the fuck are you?
Teddy? Your buddy?
Prove it.
Sammy. Remember Sammy? You told me about Sammy. Jeez.
What the fuck are you doing in my car?
What, your sense of humor went with the memory?
Guy Pearce does a really good job playing someone who can't remember what's happening from scene to scene, but can feel when something's off. There are subtleties he plays with that greatly benefit his performance.
What's the last thing that you do remember?
My wife.
That's sweet.
Dying. I remember my wife dying.
Carrie-Anne Moss is also a nice addition to the film. Her character's motivations inject an unpredictability to Leonard's predicament. Thus, when they interact, it's always different.
So next time you see me, will you remember me? I think you will.
I'm sorry.
This is a must-see for film lovers. Its story construction, editing, pacing, tone, and characters make Memento a modern classic. What was I doing? Number 4. Batman Begins. In 2005, I was a 16-year-old kid and saw this movie with no real expectations. When I left the theater, something changed in me. It awakened an ambition that made me desperately want to tell my own stories with a determination that wasn't quite there before. As silly as it may sound, I owe a lot to this movie for really kickstarting my love of both making and analyzing films. Bruce Wayne travels the world, searching for the means to fight injustice. Eventually, Henry Ducard and the League of Shadows find him and teach him their ways. Bruce relents when he sees that the League's extreme teachings don't match up with his own moral code. When the still determined orphan millionaire returns to Gotham, things start falling into place for the birth of the Batman. Because of Memento, people were aware of Nolan before this, but it was Batman Begins that really jump-started his career. I love almost everything about this movie. It's not flawless, but it hits so many marks for me as a Batman fan that I became obsessed with the little details in it. And the extra features of the DVD, I spent hours rewatching how they made certain sequences and everything that went into the creative process. I was fascinated with this film for a long time. The look and feel of Gotham is different here than in the next two installments, and I might like this version a little more. I love the idea of the Narrows and how much time we spent there. Batman Begins was a wide-scale film, but Gotham felt very intimate to me. We were in the dirty corners, the crevices that no one saw. Batman fit very well into this world, and I was a touch disappointed they didn't really expand on some of these areas in The Dark Knight or Rises. That scene at the docks is still one of the best live-action Batman sequences ever.
Where are you?
Here.
The performances here are mostly top-notch. I love Bale as Batman and Bruce. I think this is his best performance of the trilogy. Bale is driving the action and has a lot of emotions to play around with to show off how great of an actor he is. Also, early on here, the Batman voice is more subdued. It's deeper and less raspy as opposed to where it went in the next two movies.
Falcone sent them to kill you.
Why?
You rattled his cage.
What's this?
Leverage.
For what?
To get things moving.
Liam Neeson also brings his signature style to this film. His motivations are pretty clear, and they build his relationship up with Bruce in a believable way. I enjoyed their chemistry.
I wasn't always here in the mountains. Once I had a wife. My great love. She was taken from me.
Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon shined more in the following installment, but here he's a damn good future commissioner. He also just really looks the part.
Yes!
Quick shout out to Cillian Murphy for being a creepy scarecrow in and out of the mask. That character deserves more, but with the time he had, I liked him a lot. Murphy is just a really good actor, and I don't think he gets enough credit. Also, Morgan Freeman is great as Lucius Fox, but what else is new?
Didn't you get the memo?
We have to talk about my favorite Alfred. Michael Caine was more active here than we saw in previous iterations. I think he nailed this part. As I've gotten older, I've grown more attached to Alfred as a character, and behind Bruce and maybe Dick Grayson, he's my favorite member of the Bat family. We see the relationship between him and Bruce stay consistent in Begins and change in future movies. But the emotion Alfred brings to this film is phenomenal, and Michael Caine will always be my favorite on-screen version.
Why do we force? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
You still haven't given up on me.
Never.
Let's just fix one thing. There we go. The last performance I want to mention is Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes. I don't care what anyone says, I thought she was leaps and bounds better for the part than Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight. Holmes isn't a heavy hitter like Bale or Caine, but I thought she was pretty good in this movie. I believed Rachel and Bruce's chemistry and that they were childhood friends.
Good people like your parents will stand against injustice. They're gone. What chance does Gotham have when the good people do nothing?
Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard created a score that is so emotional and heavy. I love it. It may not be as iconic as Danny Elfman's Batman '89 soundtrack, but for this universe, it was perfect. I used to go back and watch the credits of this movie just to listen to the music at the end. It connected with me immensely. I think I was the right age and the right frame of mind, and this was just the right movie at the right time for me. It's also one of the last films I saw at my hometown theater before it closed down, so it holds a special significance. I love it for introducing me to Nolan's work and opening my mind to the possibility of actually really trying to be a filmmaker myself. Number 3, The Prestige. Everyone talks about Insomnia being Nolan's forgotten great work, and it is, but I don't see many people talking about how amazing The Prestige is either. Based on Christopher Priest's 1995 novel, The Prestige portrays the bitter rivalry of two magicians at the end of the 19th century. Robert Angier blames Alfred Borden for a magic trick gone tragically wrong, and the pair begin to one-up each other as their individual careers progress and grow. However, this isn't just a professional grudge. Things are personal and lives are put in danger. Angier's obsession with a trick of Borden's leads him to pursue severe measures in his quest to be the superior magician and man. If you haven't seen The Prestige, the less I say about it, the better. I think the only real way for you to understand just how good this movie is to watch it 2 to 3 times. I can honestly say I enjoyed it the most upon the last rewatch. I'll quickly mention that Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman give career performances in this film. They are both amazing, and you won't get how amazing they actually are until you watch the movie multiple times.
A real magician tries to invent something new that other magicians are going to scratch their heads over, you know?
I suppose you have such a trick, Mr. Baldner.
Actually, I do.
Would you care to sell it to me?
No. No one else could do my trick. Any trick can be duplicated, right, Mr. Cutter?
Wrong.
Also, Michael Caine is awesome as usual, and David Bowie is as cool as ever.
So, this is the Great Denton.
I took a lot of notes on this one and have a lot to say, but I think a ton of people look past this movie in Nolan's filmography, and that shouldn't be happening. Just go watch The Prestige. If you've only seen it once, watch it again. Pay attention to the details. It's a thoroughly rewarding experience when you pick up on the subtle hints dropped in everything that's happening. Number 2, The Dark Knight. For years now, people have talked ad nauseum about how amazing The Dark Knight is. It's not just a great comic book movie. Since Batman has been on the streets of Gotham, crime has gone down sharply, as Police Lieutenant Jim Gordon and District Attorney Harvey Dent continue to round up the bigger crime bosses. A new class of criminal starts to gain traction. The Joker is something Batman has never dealt with before. This agent of chaos turns the city's plans for salvation on their head and aims to show everyone the only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. All the way through, The Dark Knight just feels like a big deal. And it is. It changed how comic book movies were perceived. People really started taking them seriously as great movies on their own, beginning with this. Thus far, I think plenty of fans still consider this the pinnacle of what a near-perfect comic book film is. Marvel Studios has had their own success, of course, in a completely different way, but The Dark Knight is the singular film we can point to that is probably the most widely accepted as something that transcended its own medium. Heath Ledger created an icon and advanced a legend with his version of the Joker. No matter how much it's been said, it doesn't make it any less true. Ledger's Joker is one of the most memorable character portrayals in film history. His death has seemed to only deepen people's fascination with the role.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! It's gone.
The first time I saw this movie, people applauded loudly after that scene. Ledger had us all on the edge of our seats the entire time he was on screen.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be.
Because of how brilliant Ledger was, a few other great performances were overshadowed. I think Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent is really underappreciated. He was extraordinary here.
You wanna play games? How's that feel? You wouldn't? I wouldn't!
Everyone else is on their A game. Bale, Caine, Oldman, Freeman, Gyllenhaal.
This is your life. You can't leave something like that to chance.
Well, almost everyone. I mean, how many great lines can you recite from this movie? Odds are a lot.
You either die a hero,
or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Why so serious? Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Because it's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now.
The themes are obvious, but woven perfectly into the story and characters. This film will continue to resonate with people for years to come, and it will be remembered as something truly special. Christopher Nolan has a list of great films to his name, and it was very difficult to leave some of them out. So, before we get to number 1, here they are, as honorable mentions. And the number 1 best Christopher Nolan movie is Inception. In my opinion, this is still Nolan's masterpiece. Dom Cobb specializes in stealing important secrets from people's minds through sharing dreams. He has been on the run since he was framed for his wife's death and has been making ends meet by working for clients that wish to obtain a secret from a rival. When a man named Saito offers him a way back home, the catch ends up being Inception, planting an idea in someone's head instead of stealing it. This is a risky process with a very low level of success. Cobb decides to go through with it and puts together a team who are each the best at what they do. As they go deeper into their subject's psyche, the situation becomes more and more hazardous. Whether you think the sharing dreams idea had been done before or not, it was never done on this scale. Inception is brilliant, genius, whatever positive adjective you can think of. I was in awe of this movie the first few times I saw it, and now every time I watch it, I am truly appreciative of the effort put forth in making this movie a reality. The rotating hallway scene is a perfect example. That was a real rotating set. This movie becomes more impressive the more you hear about what they did behind the scenes, and it's an astounding achievement, no doubt. The performances all work really well here. Without these actors playing interesting characters that inhabit the story, the dream gimmick would be just that. DiCaprio plays a sympathetic yet mysterious lead in Dom Cobb. We're rooting for him while not fully trusting him for reasons explained in the film. Leo handles that balance well.
Calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. This was your job, goddammit. This was your responsibility. You were meant to check Fisher's background thoroughly. We are not prepared for this type of violence.
We have dealt with sub-security before. We'll be a little more careful and we're gonna be fine.
This was not a part of the plan. He's dying, for God's sake.
Tom Hardy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt have a fun back and forth throughout.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Ellen Page as Ariadne is sort of the audience point of view as she discovers how this dream business all works. I liked her role. Cillian Murphy kills it as Robert Fisher. I'm glad he had more to do here, and he has a great scene in the third act of the film. Marion Cotillard as Cobb's wife, Moll, is truly haunting. I think some of her scenes are the closest to a Nolan horror film we've gotten yet.
And we grow together. And we can't.
Ultimately, the movie's dream gimmick is held together by Cobb's emotional story throughout the film. With his arc at the center, it reaches a level that lifts Inception to Nolan's best movie and greatest achievement at this point in his career.
You're waiting for a train.
A train that'll take you far away.
You know where you hope this train will take you.
But you can't know for sure.
But it doesn't matter.
Dunkirk was amazing in theaters, and I suggest you check it out there if at all possible. It continues Nolan's streak of great films that are very different from his others, yet have a familiar touch. I always look forward to what he comes up with next. It's guaranteed to be something special. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? Leave me a comment and let me know. For more content, subscribe to my personal channel, youtube.com/awesomewalter, like my new Facebook page, facebook.com/awesomewalterb, and follow along on Twitter to take part in more polls about what may be covered in the future. Come back next week as we...
Hi.
Hyper Fangirl? What are you doing here?
I'm just trying to wake you up.
Wake me up? What the heck? Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Am I still asleep?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
Why so serious?
Heath Ledger Joker. Oh, thank God. I was having a terrible nightmare.
Well, let's put a smile back on that face.
This is real. I thought he was gonna kill me.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.